Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. I'm Pat Pompeani's son, Bob. Thank you for joining us on this Father's Day. We have three fathers in the studio on our panel tonight as we begin our discussion. The number one topic tonight on the number one Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers. And we welcome in Colin Dunlap from 93.7 The Fan Morning Show. Josh Yohe does wonderful work with The Athletic, and Paul Zeise in the Post-Gazette and the Paul Zeise program. So, gentlemen, happy Father's Day to start.
Yes, you too, Bob.
And, Colin, I'll throw this to you first to get the conversation going. Minkah Fitzpatrick started an $84 million contract, new additional money. He's the highest paid safety in the game. This means the Steelers have the most expensive defense, at least on paper. What should that translate on the field? Because last year they were not where they needed.
Well, it's to translate to a better defense. There's no question about it. And I think that they've already gone to cure a couple of their ills. Tyson Oluolu, hopefully he stays healthy. The linebacker in the middle stunk, so they got Miles Jack. I think they got better in the back end of the defense with the signing of a couple corners, or at least bringing a couple corners in. I think that they got better, and now they finally have an answer on to it, where last year they were so in limbo. I do think it should translate to being better. Minkah Fitzpatrick, another thing, too, this isn't a T.J. Watt issue, and I don't know if Omar Khan did this on purpose or not, but there's not the lingering questions throughout camp. He's going to be at camp. He's going to be in through all the drills and everything. So there won't be those questions, well, is he going to be ready to play? Will he be ready week one? No, he's going to go through a full camp. I like it. I like every bit of Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Josh, they were one of the worst teams in giving up rushing yardage last year. Now, Minkah was there for this as well. How does that change? How does it, so that Minkah could be more the player we saw 2 years ago and not the tackler that we saw last year?
Well, the run defense is still a huge problem, Pomp. He's pretty good, by the way, in supporting the run, so that's not a weakness in his game at all. You had to sign him, though. Bottom line, the NFL largely is about throwing the ball and stopping the pass, right? The Steelers don't have a shutdown corner. They have a bunch of average corners, I think, which is fine, but you still need that star element somewhere in your secondary, and he brings that. I think this guy has been terrific, really, since the day they brought him to Pittsburgh. You can say his numbers dipped a little bit last year. I think that was largely because of who he was surrounded by and the deficiencies on the Steelers' defense. The guy has star power. You have three legitimate stars on this defense now with Cam Hayward, T.J. Watt, and Minkah. The defense better be better this season,
Top 5,
put it that way.
Paul, how good does it have to be? Because you got an offense that's very young with still many questions.
Well, I mean, theoretically, if it's the highest paid defense, it should be number one. But, I think that a lot of people are trying to talk themselves into the Steelers are going to be good and better than they actually are, okay? Miles Jack is a good player. I don't know that he's going to really transform much of anything in terms of what they needed from last year to this year. You're telling me basically the difference is now a 36, 35, whatever-year-old Tyson Oluolu coming off a major injury is all of a sudden going to make this defensive line markedly better. You still got the Wormleys and the Loudermilks and the kid that everyone tells me is 50 pounds undersized from Texas A&M. Okay, you've got, as you said, average corners, and Minkah, they had to sign him, but I'm still seeing a defense that is really going to be soft up the middle and easy to run against. And if that's the case, especially when your corners are just kind of average, I don't know that they're going to be top 5 defense. No, I mean, anytime you have T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, you're going to be able to do some damage, but you're also going to give up big plays. Yeah. And that's what we saw last year. So I'm a little bit less enthused about the Steelers' defense than some.
The nice thing they have right now is a situation where they don't owe a Hall of Fame quarterback a lot of money. He's now off the books, so they have younger quarterbacks. So, Colin,
yes,
this affords them an opportunity to spend more money. Deontay Johnson wants it next, although they have to be mindful of Chris Boswell also.
No, they don't. You can find a kicker.
How much money will it take?
19.
And will they do it now?
They should have done it yesterday, between 19 and 20 million a year for Deontay Johnson. That's the going rate. Jacksonville changed the game.
You consider him elite then?
I consider him worth $19 or $20 million a year because that's what he is. You're not paying anybody else. You're not paying the running back. You're not paying any of the quarterbacks. You're not paying the tight end. You're not paying any linemen right now. If they don't pay Deontay Johnson, and I've said this before, they better bank on Claypool and one of the young receivers being good. I know what the body of work with Deontay Johnson is, and people can talk about the drops all they want. Where he ranks and what he's done, He's a pretty darn good receiver. I'd pay him between 19 and 20. I would have done it from day one. I think he's a guy that you extend, and it's past time to do that. And if they don't, it's going to be a big mistake.
Yeah, and remember this about Deontay. I'm as big a supporter of Ben Roethlisberger as anybody. He wasn't very good the last couple of years, let's be honest. He was clearly fading. So who knows what what would Deontay have done with prime Ben Roethlisberger? This is a really talented player, and the idea of signing him makes sense to me because the two rookies you just drafted in the second and fourth rounds, they're going to be two of your best receivers for the next 2 or 3 years, and they're not going to be making much money.
So why then do you give it to him when they've had success drafting receivers?
Well, my point is when you have other cheap receivers, you have some money perhaps that can go in his direction. I don't trust Chase Claypool. I don't know how good he is. I don't think he's quite the dominant force he was in his first 10 NFL games. Since then, he has been very good. Deontay Johnson, I don't know if he's a superstar, but he might be a legitimate number one receiver. There's only so many of those guys.
And I think if you look, I mean, what is it? The top 10, 11, 12 receivers make 20 million, 19, 20 million.
The market's changed.
So the market has changed. And to me, I think if you bring back Deontay Johnson, it's the theory of you want to bring back good players. Now, there is a discussion that could be had about the fact that 2 months ago they should have spent $19 million on a tackle or a guard. But
or
that's
not drafted a quarterback that's number 3 on the depth chart right now.
Right.
And drafted a guard or a tackle.
or whatever. But what's done is done. So to me, if you're going to spend money on your offense, he's the natural guy that you're going to spend it on until one of these young offensive linemen or whatever shows you that they deserve it, which I'm not real all that enthused about that either. So to me, there's nobody else to pay. You might as well pay Deontay Johnson.
All right, we'll see. It's going to maybe happen now, maybe not. And if it doesn't, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out this season and what his body of work will be like. We're going to talk more football coming up, and not Steeler quarterbacks. We've been doing a lot of that. We're going to do a lot, but we're going to talk about Deshaun Watson. He spoke this week, and there are reports that they're looking at a significant suspension. So what does that mean? We'll talk about it next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.